Happy New Year!
Hey, 2025.
That's right.
Let's go.
I just barely was getting used to putting 2022 correctly on my checks. So that's why Terry doesn't let me write checks anymore.
Yeah.
So, welcome. Stu, it seems like I haven't talked to you since last year.
It has been a
Sorry.
year.
Had to do that.
That's all right.
That joke never gets old. So we have Susan's here with us. Susan, your background has changed a little bit. What's going on? Did you move to a new location?
Yeah, just momentarily. I'll go back where I was before.
Cool. Well, so any big plans for today, Stu? Any special New Year's workouts or anything?
Yeah, I do actually have a special one. I'm coming up with a new test that I'm challenging the folks with today. And it's a fun one. All right. Here's how it works. It's a farmer walk test. And we have this big field at the Naval Academy that's like 0.9 miles. So not quite a mile, but almost. And you get two 45-pounders in your hands, and you just start farmer walking it. How far can you go before you have to let it go and rest your grip? But you don't get to just rest your grip. You have to run a lap. That's your rest for your grip. So you run 0.9 miles to pick up the weights again. Then you continue with the farmer walk. And every time you drop them, you got to run a lap. So we're going to see how many laps we do in this little test. And so it's just a fun new idea I had.
Yeah.
Going to bring in the new year.
Yeah, I think that's great. It sounds like rest with abs. It took me about 3 months to figure out that rest with abs was bullshit. And that, I'm just saying, I'm not saying I don't like it, but I'm just saying, I whenever you say a fun little thing, I have to be honest with you, man. My defenses kind of perk up a little bit.
I will tell you this. Resting with abs is much better than resting with running. So got that going for you.
I got you. So
anyway, that's what I'm doing. We got a special workout we're experimenting with.
Experimenting?
Yes.
What do you mean, Stu? Is this the same thing when you experimented before and everybody got turf toe on the side of the pool and you're like, nah, we're going to stop that?
See, that was an experiment that went bad, but that's okay. We learned from it. We didn't consider it a failure.
Okay.
Right? It was just an experiment. So that is what I'm tasking people with doing. In fact, I've written a couple of articles this week about it.
Yeah.
On both ends of the spectrum, a beginner level as well as a spec ops level. And what I have found over the years is that my own consistency with fitness, and this has been for 42 years now. I can't think of a time I wasn't exercising. Maybe I was sick with pneumonia or something. I didn't do something for a week, but very rarely was I just taking a vacation from fitness. It was never something I didn't do. But I think a large reason behind that is that I'm on a constant search for things that work or work better for me personally, as well as now as a coach for others that are having whatever issues they're having. So I'm in like this constant search/experimental phase that I find personally exciting. And if it doesn't work, I don't consider it a failure. I move on to something else that actually works. So, when you set a goal and you don't reach that goal, you feel like you failed. Right? Whereas when you set an experiment and that experiment goes awry, like everybody getting turf toe, right? Or you don't like 6 a.m. workouts, right? Like we were experimenting with, and you change the time or you try to find a different time. You didn't fail at that. You just rearranged and said, I need to find another option.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it takes the mental strain of goal setting and puts the word goal as a secondary outcome, and the word experiment is your primary focus. I'm experimenting with the best way to reach this goal versus I'm setting a goal and now I have to get motivated, create habits, build discipline, right? There's more to it than experimenting. Experimenting is like, oh, there's a Zumba class. Let me go try that, right? I might love it. Especially as much as I danced at my daughter's wedding, I might like Zumba. Go figure.
Hey, Zumba with a shake weight. I'd love to see a video of Stu doing that.
That'd be sweet.
Yes. And those sweet sunglasses you had on in that video.
Yes.
That was
heart-shaped.
There you go.
Good stuff.
So I like that. Now, you know me, and then we'll hear from Susan on this one because she's very goal oriented, and we experiment a lot around here with different stuff. This also, though, seems like a way to let yourself off the hook, because not you, just saying that, okay, I'm going to experiment with this. Oh, you dip your little toe in and say, oh, that didn't work out. Guess that experiment. And it's like, I personally think that if you're going to do an experiment, you have to set some parameters that are going to dictate whether it was a successful or legitimate experiment or not. Now we're going back to like 10th grade science class, but
yeah, you're making it more complicated than it needs to be, Jim.
No, I don't think so. No, because people wuss out. You
that is true.
Set yourself up for success. It's like, okay, I'm going to try this experiment and give it everything I got for the next 30 days.
Absolutely.
That's got to be part of it. Not, I'm going to try this today. And
there's no gray area there, Jim. No gray area. Right. You are correct. Yes.
So it's time and then full legit effort. You don't, that's the thing. Like, there are a lot of people that try a lot of experiment is not try.
No.
It's like Yoda said, there is no try. There's only do or do not.
Yes.
So I like this because I do this all the time. I try different stuff.
I mean, you can apply it. I apply it to business all the time as well. I mean, what are we doing whenever we're testing hooks? We're experimenting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm 100% on board with this, but I'm just saying that's all I'm saying is that if you're going to commit to a time and full legit effort, and we're adult enough to know what a legit effort is. And I don't know. I apologize if it's glitchy a little bit. We're coming to you from the magic of Space Force or SpaceX or Starlink or whatever it's called. Yoda's up there doing the hand crank to get us to interwebs. Can you think of anything else that would make it a legit experiment?
I mean, my first parameter is experiment with something that you think you will enjoy, right? Something that has interest to you.
Sure.
Right? You kind of have to enjoy it to make it work, right? Or at least be interested in it. Like, I thought I would enjoy this, but I really don't.
I thought I'd like Zumba and the shake weight, but then when my Facebook blew up with the wrong kind of followers, I had to stop. I like it. It's so enjoyable, exciting. Like today, we're gonna go as soon as we're done with this. We're gonna go ruck down to the lighthouse. That's going to be fun. It's going to you could look at it and think, oh, it's going to suck because it's a little cold and it's windy as hell, but it's not going to suck. It's going to be fun. Be an adventure. Yeah. And that's another thing. That's the other way. That's a word I like to use. It'll be an adventure.
I would agree.
Now I ain't doing that farmer walk thing. I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just
Understand.
saying. But
We'll try that later, Jim. I'm testing it out on them before I test it out on you.
Thank you so much. I like it, and to me, this kind of fits with the theme of where we are. Well, okay, I'm going to shut up for a minute. And Susan, what are your thoughts on this as a very goal oriented
person to finish the thought? I mean, try and experiment look like they're interchangeable. It's just a mental aspect to it, and it's mentally whether or not you're going to stick with it. So like we said, we were going to ruck until the end of the year. I have rucked every day to the end of the year. Now my weight has varied because I injured myself pretty good. So I had to back off on the weight but I carried the backpack. The backpack was always there from, I think we started at September 11th through yesterday. I finished off. Now I'm at 8.75 pounds right now in my backpack, just because I'm trying to rehab this injury.
Nice.
That, I mean, it's mental. It comes down to mental things as well.
Oh, I would agree. But, a lot of people haven't had the experience to really kind of build any type of mental toughness or resilience. And so what I envision this being is more of instead of looking at a goal and saying, wow, this is going to be a lot of work, you set an experiment and you say, let's see if I like doing this. Right? Completely different mindset altogether. And then you may love it. And then it's not hard to do anymore. Then you can kind of set goals like, hey, I've done it for 10 minutes. Let me do it for 20 minutes. And, the goals start growing with you, as you started finding something that you tend to enjoy doing.
So let me give an example of something I did years ago, even before you and I met. So I was severely, for me, overweight. I was like 260 and terrible shape. And I said, I'm just going to walk every morning for 30 minutes. I don't care how far I get or how far I don't get. And I remember I know I could go and move my ass down the street for 30 minutes. And so the first day I went however far I went, but then the next day I went twice as far as I went the day before, because not because I was in all of a sudden great shape, but just because I realized, I did that. That wasn't really
I could go a little faster.
Yeah, I could go a little faster. And then, that went all the way up to doing a go ruck, where that was a gut punch. But the point is, what I'm hearing you say is set it up, just try something, but try it earnestly and try and make it fun. Because if it's fun, and if you could see that it's something you can do and you start to get a little result, you can build that positive upward spiral instead of trying to do it all at once and it goes to hell. It's kind of like if you ever fall off the wagon, I say, hey, Stu, I need kind of a reset week. And so it's not 500 push-ups, it's, 50 push-ups and, do this. And you kind of, don't run for 30 minutes, run for 2 minutes. It's even been as like run for 30 seconds and walk for a minute, and just build that momentum. And you'd be surprised how fast you can build that momentum just by doing something almost that's too easy, because then it's like, I can do this. It's the getting started thing.
Yeah, that's the hard part for people, because you can't be consistent without starting.
Right.
So, and I understand starting is the hardest part, but
sure,
that's why I was like, instead of setting something that seems a year off, right, before you see the results you want,
right,
set up an experiment that's like, let's see if I like this. Let's see if I lose a pound doing this. Let's see, I already exercise, but I'm not very consistent at exercising. Let's see if, let's experiment with changing the time of day that I exercise, so I have less commitments that interfere with it. Like I changed my noon lunch workout to a 5 a.m. workout.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that I just want to say hi to the people. Happy New Year. C Ray's here. Vicky's here. Rainer's here. And I think that's Susan. Share what you just put in the comment there.
Oh, what I'm typing in now? I was just wondering if thinking about the outcome or the result happily as you get started, if that makes a difference.
I think you definitely.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think you got to have some inspiration for why you're starting. But as with everything, that inspiration has to turn into action, right? And then that action turns into habits. Those habits, now you are consistent. And then there's going to be that one day when you decide to exercise or do whatever you are trying to do on a day that you don't feel like it. And now you realize that inspiration that you originally had has now evolved to discipline. And that's where the magic happens in that part of the evolution.
Oh,
So,
I like that. Hang on one
right?
sec. I think we're on to something here. I forgot that. Okay, so I think one of the things that Susan said, I'm just going to throw that out there. Desired income or outcome. I'm getting rid of the word goal. Okay. So if we think about, and we're going to replace, it's like try, action. Just go with me here for a second. Okay.
Okay.
So let's get some definitions. So try or experiment. Let's say that's a cause set in motion. And you know me, I just like thinking about this stuff. Thank God I got this board, so I couldn't think before. So try, experiment, action is a cause set in motion. Okay. A result, let's call that a result, a tangible result. And that has to come from action. Something has to happen. And you'll see where I'm going with this. Okay. The desired outcome is really what people think of as a goal. They say, okay, I want to be rich. I want to do this. I want to have this thing. So the outcome is the desired outcome. It's the why you want to do stuff. Okay. Nowhere in here does this say goal. Unfortunately, you can't create the outcome without specific results. So, but result is the result of a cause set in motion. No. Just listen.
No. I like it.
So if you create the big picture of, and like I did, fit gym, and I created a picture in my head of fit gym, not muscle bound or anything like that, but just slim, certain capabilities. And then when I found you, I was like, oh, tactical fitness makes perfect sense. All the functional fitness stuff. I'm like, got it. Had this picture of me. The picture did not match the reality. However, what created the outcome was first the experiment of I'll walk every day. Walking every day created the result of losing weight. And as I lost weight, I felt better. And then that reinforced the habit of walking every day, which turned into a discipline, because discipline is just habit that happens automatically. And then it created the outcome of fit gym. Now, next, Stu came in the picture with Stu workouts. Do you want to know how I got to the point? I can't do it anymore, but my goal was to be able to do 30 pull-ups. So what did I do? All I did was commit to do every day what Stu sent me. That was it. And when I did what Stu sent me, it's like all this stuff just happened. But if you're only focused over here, you're never going to get it. So it's almost like you got to define the big picture outcome so you know ultimately where you're heading. Like we're going to Key West on spring break, but I need to, get in the car, start the car, make sure I have money for gas, make sure the thing's gassed up, know where I'm going to stop at Buc-ee's to use the can and all the other stuff. It's like I got to execute these things along the way. So there really is no goal. There is just an ultimate outcome if I produce these individual results. And ultimately the result is just taking daily action, taking the daily actions you need to take. And if you experiment with different daily actions, you may actually get where you want to go faster. But if you don't do anything, you're never going to get the outcome. So the focus, define it clearly, and then almost just kind of set it to the side.
Yeah, absolutely.
And focus on taking the daily actions that you need to take.
Yeah. It's really similar to basic psychology of past, present, future. You don't focus on the past because you can't do anything about it. The future, that's future goal. Don't make it give you anxiety, right? Let's focus on the present, what we can do now, and work towards those goals. And by building good habits today, that's going to build discipline. That's going to drive us towards our outcomes and ultimate goals. So, but you can do that through various experiments. See what you like. The beauty of all of this, whether it's business or it's fitness, is there's so many different things that you can do to experiment to see if something works for you.
Well,
in business, it's a little easier because, does this make me money? Does this save me time? Yeah, that's a successful experiment. I should keep doing that. Right? Whereas in fitness, it may take a little longer.
Working.
Right. Yeah, until it stops working.
But that's the other thing, is that if you experiment with different stuff, that gives you some variety, and that's something that people crave. If you did the same workout every single day,
it would drive me nuts.
It wouldn't be any fun.
No.
And so that equals the fun and adventure stuff. And it also equals new, which everybody loves new.
Yeah.
Susan, what are your thoughts on this?
No, it fits in with the lizard brain. I mean, new, there's something over here that we can go see what's going on in that direction. And I mean, variety, yeah, spice of life. That's the saying.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that camp of finding variety, but I also like things that are old. Like, how many times have you done a PT pyramid, Jim? Been doing PT pyramid since the 80s. It's just one of those things. I experimented with that one day, and I was like, this really works. I'm going to keep doing this. But then just found ways to spice it up. Yeah.
Did one yesterday. The only way to spice it up is it times 2, times 3, or just times 1. Times 1 feels like cheating, Stu.
And run every set.
That's right. I actually have a way to run 25 meters in my garage, so I don't have to go outside and freeze my butt off. So I'm like Rocky now with the I got the wood stove going. So I crank it up to about 85 degrees in here while it's 30 degrees outside. Don't hate.
I do the timed runs. If it's 25 and I'm inside, I change it to like 30 seconds or a minute.
Yeah, that works. Works better too. Yep.
That's cool. I like it. I think, though, the biggest thing, though, that we touched on, and when we're talking about any of this stuff, is that without a strong enough reason why you're doing what you're doing, whether you want to call it a goal or an outcome or result or a commitment or any of that stuff, the bigger your why, the more likely you are to stick with it and achieve whatever it is you're saying that you want to accomplish. If you don't have a big enough reason why, or if you haven't even thought about why, because there's going to come a point in the middle of a workout, in the middle of doing something in your business, editing your book, putting together your sales letter. You're going to have that moment. And I can remember specific moments in my life where I made a decision and it wasn't always the right decision to keep going. I remember a couple times I've quit and lost momentum, and I can always trace it back to the fact that I either consciously or subconsciously asked some variation of the following question: why the hell am I doing this? And when I kept going, I had a really good answer to that question that motivated me. And when I lost momentum and I quit and I didn't keep going, it's because I didn't have a good answer to that question.
I can think of countless scenarios in my life where that has happened. You know, where you have to have a good answer for why are you doing this to yourself. You know, and yeah, you need it. Absolutely.
And I think that there are two sources of why. There's external whys and then there's internal whys. And I used to think that the external ones weren't good because they could disappear. You know, you hear stuff like, you know, one of the reasons why people hire a personal trainer is because, oh, well, I made an investment and I have an appointment and, you know, all this other stuff. But I can tell you from personal experience, a personal trainer ultimately will crap out on you and then will give you an excuse to, oh, well, what am I going to do? You know, they didn't show up, so I'm screwed. No,
Oof.
but that's, I mean, I'm just telling you that extra,
Yeah.
or, you know, or you can use your kids, or you can use your spouse, or you can, but, you know, kids grow up, or, you know, there's these external things as opposed to internal where you're driven by beliefs and other stuff like that. This is stronger. Internal, this is the one that gives you the staying power, but this is what gives you the starting power.
There you go.
So I might get into action faster because of an external, but I'll stay in action longer if it's combined with an internal.
100%.
And that's something I've learned over the years, that it's not either or, it's both in conjunction. And I know there's something about the way engines work or something that, you know, it needs something to get it combustion or whatever, but then once it's running like a diesel or something, I don't know. But this is something that I have really though understood and used to motivate myself, is that I can use an external. Something pisses me off, and so it spurs me into action, but then I got to have the internal, like, you know, this is who I am. This is what I'm, you know, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is like my legacy stuff. This is going to make a huge difference in the world type stuff to make. And usually the internal ends up not being internal. It ends up being something that's bigger than you. It's like the transcendent stuff. That's like the ultimate juice. But the external, something pisses you off, something gets you super excited, something gets you, you know, ooh, that looks like fun. You know, use that as the starting fluid. You ever used that spray ether stuff like on a lawnmower or something that won't start?
Like,
you spray that
yes,
stuff in
quick
there?
start. Oh man, that's so fun.
But
Squirt it right into this carburetor.
But it has warnings on it that's like, you know, this stuff will blow up and kill you if you do more than just a little bit. It's the same kind of thing. This is like the external starter fluid, but then this is the gas and the maintenance and all the other stuff that'll keep you going. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody but me, but this was a big aha for me, because I used to say, you don't want to really have the external stuff because it doesn't last. But
Yeah.
that was wrong.
I mean, I will say this. There's nothing wrong with setting goals. I love to set goals. I think I like to have a monthly goal, a quarterly goal, 6-month goal, in everything, business, life, book writing, um, fitness. And I've just found over the years what I think has helped me stay consistent is the constant experimenting that drives me towards that goal. Right? So it just refreshes the inspiration almost, right? Every time I come up with a new idea, I'm like, I got to try that out. Let's see how it works. And I set it up, and then we test it out. And, a month later, I see everybody has results with it. And I'm like, I like that. Let's keep adding that, And so anyway, I've just found goals are fine, but for me, experimenting helps me stay consistent.
When you set a goal, do you ever set money goals, or do you set activity goals that will result in money?
I have done ballpark goals for like end of the year money. Like I always want to be at least 10% better than the year before. Right. So I like to look back over the last 20 years and just see this little growth curve that's nice and steady. Do I want to have 100% increase? Yeah, sure. I would love that. But I try to be realistic with those versus, trying out something that I'm not sure that is going to be a logical progression with, money goals.
I mean, have you ever sat down and said, I want to make $200,000 in the next 60 days?
Yes.
Okay.
Not in 60 days. I have not, but that's a little aggressive for me. But no, I haven't done that. But
have you ever sat down and said, okay, I'm going to devote the next, I'm going to have this ebook done by next Friday, and that means I'm going to have to sit down 3 hours a day, in between lunch and swimming, and I'm going to bust my ass to get this done. If I have to, I'm going to have to, work into the evening because I'm going to have this damn thing done, because as soon as it's done, I'm going to launch it out, and I'm going to launch it with this, these emails and this social media and these boosted posts and all this other stuff. And that's going to create income. And I can kind of gauge, when I do that and release the book, I'm going to make X amount.
Yes.
And then it'll add this amount to the overall pot moving forward.
Absolutely. I can see the launch and the increase in sales immediately.
Okay.
And then I try to maintain those by leveraging some marketing ideas and experimenting with other forms of marketing to keep those numbers up.
But the ultimate outcome, the ultimate thing is, or the ultimate focus is on the action to create the outcome. So the goal is kind of the target, but the outcome is created by action. That's the point that I'm really just
I get you.
Stuff done. It's when I focused on the thing I was going to do. Once I had clearly defined what I was trying to get done, then it was all about the action to do it. But what you're also making me think is that it's kind of like, okay, we'll use the income thing where you said, so $200,000 in the next 60 days. You're like, whoa, that's a little aggressive.
For me, for what I do in my business,
not a cut. It's
that number. Yeah.
That's not the point of why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is, whatever the number is, when you set a number and a time, an income goal specifically, and a time, it's kind of like threading the needle psychologically, because if it's too high, your subconscious is like, ain't no way. So just screw it. That's why you say, okay, I know that I can get 10% better every year. Okay.
Yes.
So, and there's nothing wrong with getting 10% better every year. Okay. You're going to double your income every 7 years.
Yeah.
But if you set it too low, then your mind go, we'll get that. It's like it doesn't spur any growth. It doesn't spur any real experimentation or anything like that.
That's a good point. Yeah, I could
So,
set higher. I could set higher goals and probably experiment more vigorously in some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the point of what I'm.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm not doing the let's fix Stu's business.
No, I understand.
That's not that talk.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is for people listening, and then just this is how we talk. Okay, this is how we think stuff through. It's got to be something where you're like, okay, that's going to be a stretch, but I believe that I can do it, and now I know that I can figure out or take the actions to get there to make that happen. And I know that flies in the face of all the manifestation people and all the other crap that, oh, well, you said it and just do whatever, be a possibility thinker, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Okay. At some point in the real world, I don't know. It's, I've read these books like it's easier to 10x than 2x and all that other stuff, because you have to totally think in a different way, and instead of just trying to double, you're just going to work twice as hard. But if you want to do 10 times as much, you have to totally just do totally different stuff. And I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think I've just established a nice pattern, but I see an opportunity to maybe go outside of that comfort zone, right? And just be a little more uncomfortable with pushing another layer to that. Because it does get me thinking. It gets me thinking harder on the experimenting to get there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like my brain is now fired in a different way. Once again, I'm experimenting versus trying to set this money goal, right? Because I set a money goal and I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
But if I set this experiment on like, what's the best way to get there? That is where I find it useful for my brain to work towards that direction.
And then when you think that way, and then having, masterminds and just people that, I can tell you right now, one of the ways that you could increase your incomes would be to work on back end stuff and OTOs and other stuff just baked into the processes that you have, right, with some things that you're already doing that you could probably bump your income up 15-20% by just making more value propositions to people as a course of them buying the books right now. We'll leave that alone. But yes. I think also you touch on something, or what it told me is quality of life too. At some point we got to live.
Yeah.
And we got to enjoy our time on this planet because it's fleeting.
True.
And so, quality of life versus comfort zone versus experimenting versus stretching. And I ain't talking about mobility day. And then it's back to that balance as well. Susan, what are your thoughts?
Well, it seems like some of that experimenting is also believability as to whether or not experimenting helps you create more of the believability versus just jumping into the goal. If the goal is too lofty and you don't believe you can get there, then you're not going to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, and maybe experimenting is stretching yourself without being uncomfortable, because there's not as much pressure because it's an experiment. It's not a life or death, all or nothing type thing. So it's like I can experiment with something and stretch myself because there's no pressure.
That's where I'm finding the experimental phase for me brings less pressure, if
Okay.
that makes sense. That's a
Sure.
really good point.
Stretch without pressure. And then when you find something that works, you can watch what I do here, Stu.
Okay.
You can apply pressure with confidence. Huh? Huh? You
Okay.
see that?
I'm there. I'm there.
I like that. I like that a lot because it's like, okay, I know I can, okay, cool. I know I can do this. Let's ramp it up. I know I can do this. I got belief is in this and I believe I can do it. I know it's working. Let's pour the coal to it a little bit and see if we can increase it and really make it work. I like it. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
I wish
Kevin
there was
says
an easy button
experimenting
for
can be
this.
fuel.
Sure.
Kevin says experimenting can be fuel. I like that.
Absolutely
I
it
find
can.
it the same way. I get a little more energized by having an idea to experiment versus having a goal set.
Well, do you find yourself excited to see what happens?
Oh
Like when you're
yeah,
doing an experiment, it's like, ooh, I want to see what happens.
I got to get it done. It's like I got to get it done more.
Right.
If that makes sense.
So I agree with that 100%. As an example, we've been doing a lot of experiments in our business lately, experimenting with different hooks and headlines and just different angles and stuff. And I find it very energizing. It's almost like this slot machine mentality kicks in. It's like, man, which one of these is going to hit? Which one of these is going to hit? No, for real, because it's
I
it's
like
it's
it.
like
That's fun.
this is this could change everything. And as long as you're paying attention and you're measuring and not just throwing everything against the wall, but you're actually that's one of the things with experiments, though. A lot of people sometimes will try stuff but never bother to go back and really analyze what happened in order to figure out what worked, what didn't work, and what we need to do more of and less of and other stuff like that.
Yeah, you know something I experimented with the other day, Jim? The easy button on the super blog post genie.
What
Man, that
happened, Stu?
was awesome. I loved it.
Well, Stu, I'm
Made
glad you
it
brought that up.
so easy. So easy.
I'm glad you brought that up. But Stu, it's not just on the super blog post genie anymore, Stu. I have installed the easy button on the Avatar Junior, the Offer Junior, Killer Headline Genie, the FB Ad Genie, Short Sales Letter Genie, the Blog Post Super Genie, the Email Composer Genie, the Opt-in Squeeze Page Genie, and just this morning, Stu, I installed it on the LinkedIn Post Genie. Yes, that's right, the LinkedIn Post Genie. Would you like to see the easy button in action, Stu?
I love it. Let's see it.
You want to see which one do you want to see? The LinkedIn or
Anyone. They're all special.
they're all special. Ooh,
Yeah.
I put it on another one that I didn't even list off there. I need to add that to my list. Stu, I added it to the checklist, Genie.
Nice.
Let's go over there now. And if you're not familiar with who here has played with the easy button inside of Copy and Content? Who
I
here
have now.
has messed around with that? Anybody else? Anybody that's here with us live? All right. So, checklist, Genie. Got the easy button here, Stu. All right. I'm going to put in a different one. Stu, we're going to come up with a checklist. Ready?
Yes.
I love deep frying chicken and small animals I find dead on the side of the road. I love cooking roadkill and introducing my friends to alternative food sources. I would love a checklist about how to deep fry roadkill safely that I can share with my friends. Now, if that isn't legit, so now we see down here, let me clear all this out. That was a fun example I did there, but this is the one. All right, so now, oh my God, Stu, I don't have time to fill this out. Can the easy button save me? Yes. We click the easy button. Boom.
Oh,
Look at that.
look at
Identify
that.
safe roadkill, prepare roadkill, safety tips for deep frying, flavoring, and seasoning. All right, who's our target audience? Here we go. What's the experience level? Well, they're obviously beginners. We're going to do a checklist, a how-to, 10 items, writing style neutral. Hell no. We won't do. Oh, actually, we'll do neutral. Why not? We'll let the easy button do all the driving, Stu.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll do our first how-to checklist. We got a bunch of different ones on here. We'll do. In fact, if I wanted to prepare an entire presentation, this will put together all my talking points.
Oh.
We'll do that just because it'd be fun. All right, here we go. So some checklist titles: The Ultimate Guide to Safe Roadkill, Identification and Cooking Essentials. Oh, here's mine: Mastering the Art of Deep Frying Roadkill, a step-by-step checklist. Bro, come on.
Damn.
Exploring the world of alternative food and lead design and cooking roadkill is one such endeavor worth considering. There you go. How to identify, check for freshness, inspect the body, examine.
Check for bruises, broken limbs.
Oh my God. That's pretty good. Wow, this is pretty extensive, Stu. Use a reliable
Deep frying.
fryer. Yeah, this is quite the checklist. Look at, dude, this is insanely good.
Cooking time for various animals. Did you see that? I like that. I guess squirrel is a little bit.
My squirrel's just 6
faster.
to 8 minutes, man. So if you're planning a party, definitely want to go out and get you some limb rats, some tree rats. All right, and let's see down here. Oh, sustain introduction. So how to identify, how to prepare. Dude, these are legit presentation points. I could take these over into the presentation creator Genie and
make
create
all
the
your
whole
slides.
thing. Yeah. Bro, that's amazing. So all made possible, Stu, by the easy button.
Easy button. Insane.
Because as if filling out a form wasn't easy enough, now we have the thing to absolutely do it for you.
You're spoiling us, Jim, because filling out that form's getting hard these days.
I know. And I would encourage you, you're like, oh, I could just do that with ChatGPT. Okay, go throw that in ChatGPT and see if it comes up with talking points. All you're going to have to do is sit there and wrestle with it, as opposed to the Genie and the easy button literally handing it to you on a silver platter. So anyway, I've added that one, like I said, and right now we've got the easy button and, like I said, the Avatar Junior, Offer Junior, Killer Headline, FB Ad, Short Sales Letter, Genie. I mean, okay, I'm going to tell you what, Stu. I'm going to write a sales letter to create I'm going to write a sales letter to sell a product about roadkill right now.
Okay.
We're going to do that. Just to show you how crazy this is. So I'm going to put this in the easy button. I love deep frying, blah, blah, blah. I love road cooking alternative. So I have a complete course called Hollywood Roadkill Secrets. I want to sell to adventurous cooks looking for alternative meat sources. Okay, so that's it. That's all I'm going to put in. Okay. So I'm going to click the easy button. Got to make sure you click it. And it's going to kick out my avatar, adventurous cooks. They want to be culinary pioneers. Alternative meat sources. Do we like that? Oh, Stu, forgot to tell you. Check this out. We added something I'm not sure you saw. Looky here. See that? What's that? That's a lock button, Stu.
Oh.
So I can lock these. Then I can come back up here and change this.
Huh.
Right? And I'm going to change alternatives to sustainable because that's different. Now watch this. All this other stuff, I'm going to click the easy button again. All the ones that are locked are not going to regenerate, but now all the other ones did. So
Nice.
I can actually go in and I can change these, but they won't regenerate when I go redo the easy button again. So now I'm just checking these, checking. Hey, roadblocker objections. Do you believe that? Cooking roadkill is seen as taboo or unappetizing by the mainstream. So it's a cooking course. Look at this, man. Gain confidence in sourcing and cooking roadkill. Y'all laugh, but I mean, this is a beautiful thing.
Oh,
The
incredible.
genie decided, you know who could write this best, Stu? Our boy Gary Halbert. That dude's going to write our sales copy for us. Disc will do DI. Entrepreneur Magazine will click build because, Stu, we're not just going to write one sales letter. We're not going to write two. We're actually going to write 3 different versions of the sales letter. Now, you laugh about this example of sustainable roadkill, but if we could actually write legit sales copy, if we could copy hack a legitimate sales letter about this, imagine what we could do for your thing. Because whenever I use the examples of like real estate, ooh, you know, you real estate for real estate, you shouldn't work for what I do. So here you go. Unlock culinary adventures you always dreamed of. Hollywood Roadkill Secrets, your gateway to unconventional cooking. Explore new
My
unique
goodness.
recipes and master sustainable cooking like never before. Are you ready to elevate your culinary skills and dive into the adventurous world of sustainable cooking? The Hollywood Roadkill Secrets cooking course is your key to transforming the way you approach cooking. Dude, this is legit. Become a
Nice.
culinary pioneer, confidence in the kitchen, expand your recipe repertoire, break free from stigmas, exclusive bonus content, Stu.
I like it.
This is our boy. Okay. Oh, and now that it's done, if you're ready to put it into wherever you're using it, let's say you're using like Stu. You use Shopify, right? You
Yes.
still there, Stu?
Yes.
Did I lose you? Okay.
Nope.
Watch this.
Nope.
I'm going to click save block and Hollywood Roadkill Secret Sales Letter. All right. So I saved that block. Now dig this. We come over here into content blocks and now Hollywood Roadkill Sales Secrets. I can now just click copy. All the content is there. It's all got all the formatting in it. I can click copy and copy that formatted. Or if I want to copy the HTML, I can take that and paste it into wherever I'm putting up my web page. Or
Damn.
I can even download it as an actual HTML page with the basic HTML formatting that you can throw over into whatever you're doing. So now we make it easy for you to be able to, I mean, what I want you to understand, what we just did
Oh yeah.
is I just wrote not one, not two, but 3 different versions of a sales letter for a course. I
Yeah.
then generated that sales copy, generated it formatted, and now can take that formatted text over into anywhere that I want to use it. Now I want to compare it. So, oh, I could just do that with ChatGPT. Oh, okay. Here you go. Watch this. We're going to go over into ChatGPT and here you go. I'm going to tell ChatGPT for a fair comparison. I'm going to take exactly what I put in the easy button and I'm going to put it into ChatGPT. And what does it tell me? Huh.
Neat.
Okay, so you mean now with ChatGPT, I I just put that in, ended up with my choice of 3 different sales letters for my course, as opposed to now I have to wrestle a sales letter out of, out of ChatGPT that write me a sales letter. Okay, so I don't know, is that as good? Is it following the right format? I don't know, but I know with mine, it's done, and I don't have to wrestle with ChatGPT. So that's the
Yeah,
easy
there's just a
button.
lot less editing involved in what you just created on your Genie, for sure.
Exactly. So here's the thing. All right. That's amazing. And if you're not a member of CopyandContent.AI, you should be. And coming up here, in fact, Susan and I are going to be meeting about this today. We're going to be starting the funnel show where now, instead of us just creating that, Stu and I'll sit here and we'll be the meat puppets, and then we'll generate the copy or the blog posts or all the other stuff. And then how would y'all like to see us actually take that and mechanically go through the steps of putting it up on Go High Level, or mechanically putting it up on Shopify, or putting it into WordPress? Like, not just, we got it done, but then how do you actually set it up in an actual website? We're going to take it that next step, and Susan's going to do it because she's good at that. And so we're going to make it, and it's going to be the bucket brigade of putting this stuff together. Now, if you think that's cool, let us know in the comments, because that's what we're going to start doing. And I don't know anybody else who's doing that except us. We're going to call it the Funnel Show, and it's going to be amazing. And so
sounds like a good experiment to me, Jim.
I love that segue, Stu. Well done. Way to bring it all the way around. Susan, what are your thoughts on this stuff, on the funnel show, on the stuff we're showing, on the easy button, on goals and experiments and all that stuff? What are your thoughts?
And we'll see how everything turns out. It's an experiment, and we'll go from there.
There we go. Good. Everybody's on the experiment bandwagon.
And hopefully y'all are excited, because I'm telling you, man, we're going to show you how to get this done from soup to nuts, from one sentence about roadkill to an entire funnel setup. If that isn't the easy button, I don't know what the heck would be. So we're going to get her done. All right, everybody. Well, we've done so far, Stu, we've done a podcast every day this year.
I love it.
That is quite the accomplishment. As soon as we get done with this, in another hour, I'll be able to say I've rucked every day this year. So let's
go get it done.
Appreciate everybody. Those of you who are in Copying Content, go play with the easy button. It's in some of the more popular genies. I'm adding them as we go, and let us know what you think. But also mess around with that new locking feature that we got in there, which is pretty dang amazing.
I like it.
And so we just appreciate y'all. And if you're not a member of CopyandContent.AI, you should be. And you need to go join. So we'll see y'all soon. Have a great day. Happy New Year.